Welcome to the Gay Files. Today we are investigating Scully's brush with her own mortality in Memento Mori. Welcome back to the Lush Basement Office. I'm your host, Katie.
And I'm your co-host, Crisalia, and we're coming at you from HollywoodRedux.com.
That's right. Today on the K-Files, we're talking about probably one of the most celebrated episodes of the X-Files of all time, Memento Mori. Certainly the most lauded critically. Was nominated for an Emmy for a number of categories. Gillian Anderson's performance won a Golden Globe.
Still pretty hard to see, though.
Yeah, it's a sad one. Scully has cancer. That's the revelation of the fourth season.
Scully at a weak point. It's pretty rare to see those moments, man.
Well, you're watching the show for the first time. So,
yeah.
Well, what is your experience?
It's actually pretty hard to see, like I said, Scully at a very weak moment, just because she's such a strong character throughout the show.
Yeah.
Like, now that we're at a point where something is actually wrong with her, I'm like, oh my god, man, the show's gonna fall apart. She's not gonna make it. Just like, there's so much panic. But I mean,
yeah. Well, nothing can kill
obviously,
Scully.
I mean,
we talk about it all the time. She's immortal.
We have to end up at that point where, like, our characters have to run into some sort of conflict. And, like, she even said it in her monologue. Like, it's a journey she has to face on her own.
Yeah.
So, like,
yes,
this is a journey that we're going to go with Scully.
It's
not a happy one, though.
What I love about it is that it is Scully's coming of age in a way.
Mm-hmm.
On the show. It's, well, at the very least, it's kind of the end of her first chapter of the show, where when she first was introduced to the X-Files, she has this really stubborn belief in hard science, and that that's it.
Well, it's all about the facts.
And then she's abducted in the second season, and she is forced. Because she herself is now a part of the X-Files, her body is a part of the X-Files, she's forced to open up to a more broad view of what reality can be for her. So her perspective has changed dramatically. And now the sort of final chapter of that arc is her battle with cancer, where she has to face her own death, look her own death in the face, because you hear her in the beginning of the episode. When she tells Mulder she's as clinical as you could ever imagine a person reporting that information about themselves could be.
And she's a doctor, so she's like, yeah, no, this is true. Like, this is
0%. If it pushes
100%.
into my brain and all that, yeah. So it is to hear Scully herself reporting on her own diagnosis is pretty chilling, and you can tell Mulder is not too keen on it. He immediately is like, I don't accept that.
I mean, it's her partner nonetheless, like partner in crime, partner, whatever partner it is, but it's like he's gonna be concerned for her no matter what, and like it's a struggle that they're kind of both are gonna go through, So,
but I love that he's still Mulder. Dude, though in those moments that Mulder isn't necessarily that he doesn't always know what to do in emotional situations,
but he's gonna try.
And so, so he is still kind of a jerk a little bit, even in the face of, like, her cancer. And it's, I like it. I think that feels true to the character to me. And, I don't know that Scully would necessarily want him to be, you need to go home and to bed all the time. Like, I think that would... I
mean, she's going to say it, but in the end, she's going to want him to be there no matter what. Like,
yeah, well, they got to solve the case of her cancer together. And that's kind of what they do in the episode in their different ways. They sometimes do this on the show where they investigate separately together. In this episode, it's a very cool version of that dynamic, because Scully herself is the X-Files. So for her to investigate her avenue, she has to go inward and confront all the big scary stuff.
I'm so glad you said it is a cool episode, because we get the Lone Gunmen as agents. Oh my god, that was so fun to see, dude.
Gotta love the Lone Gunmen.
Playing spies, having the gadgets. Oh, it was great.
It's always a good time when the Lone Gunmen show up and get into Mission Impossible style hijinks. Dude.
Oh my god, it was so much fun to see.
With Mulder in a turtleneck running around. Noir.
Dude.
Yep.
Mulder in that, like, leather jacket looked cool as F.
He's peak hair Mulder Duchovny is, I think, at this point.
A little scruffiness going on.
They're both in peak attractiveness, I think. 4th season on to 5th season, 6th season, 7th season. There's no end to their beauty, but really, I think it's a special time in both of their attractiveness, together and apart.
I just wanted to make it clear that the Lone Gunmen were in there because
Lone Gunmen, gotta love
we
Lone
don't get
Gunmen.
them as much, but when we do, it is such good moments like that where we get to see them.
Who's your favorite? Who's your favorite Lone Gunmen?
I actually don't have a favorite. I like the trio as is, like all of them together.
Mm-hmm.
Like I can't choose one, to be honest.
We realized Langley is a pretty close resemblance to Riff Raff in Rocky Horror.
This is
Picture
true.
Show.
Discover that on this episode.
Weird sidebar. Deep cuts, Reddit, subreddit.
Let me know who else thinks that.
Probably
no one, just me.
These are the conversations that we have in the K-Files during our investigations. We like to uncover some strange evidence.
Debunk a couple things,
travels.
here and there. Just little things.
Yeah. Yes, the Lone Gunmen are fun. The Lone Gunmen pop up and help Mulder solve all sorts of crimes throughout the X-Files, but this one is, extra special because the sum of it is that Mulder finds Scully's ovum.
Dude, this episode, man.
Weird avenues. And I would love to tell you that doesn't come up again, but it does.
It does. It's the X-Files. Come on, man.
They pop back up again. Mulder, holds on to him after this. Yep. I know. There's so much fun stuff in the mythology.
Here's the thing. He only stole one. Why did...
Well, it was one vial with, a few of them in there.
It's just that was pretty creepy.
Thank you to the X-Files writers for allowing us to have this conversation.
Seeing things and talking about things that we will never be able to unsee and talk about. Yeah.
Fwap. There you go.
Only on the X-Files and right here on the K-Files, you guys.
Speaking of the writing, this was a team effort, writing-wise, on behalf of the stable of really excellent writers on the show. Of course, led by Chris Carter. We got Frank Spotnitz. We got John Shiban. We got, the crew, the usual suspects. And directed by Rob Bowman. Yeah, he directs all the most cinematically shot episodes of the X-Files. And this is certainly a very cinematically, I think, put together episode from top to bottom. The music, everything is very emotional,
was well thought out,
dramatic. For sure. Yeah. It's really cool. And, Memento Mori, the title of the episode is Latin for essentially, remember you're going to die. Yeah. It's basically don't forget, you die. And so that pops up, that message pops up on the X-Files a lot. There's another episode titled Amor Fati, which is love of fate, which is essentially love of the good death, which is the same idea. If you can just kind of rectify yourself to your own death, do what Scully does and look her, stiff upper lip, her death in the face, and
not today, not going today,
and then cuddle with Mulder at the end, and then all cancer isn't so bad. I think that's the moral of the story, really, on the X-Files, overall. Yeah. It is a much beloved episode, and when you were watching the show live, you were thrilled as a shipper because there was so much schmoopy stuff, the cuddling at the end. There are outtakes too where they're actually kissing and stuff. There's more of that instead of just the hug with the very chaste kiss on the head, But because we didn't at the time, we were dying for all the Mulder Scully love. And we were not really getting it overtly. Because that love story is so great because it plays in the invisible. Because they don't... he reads her journal. He reads her diary in the hospital.
Even though apparently, he wasn't supposed to. She was going to throw it away. And, she regretted it immediately.
Well, but we heard everything she wrote to him. And it was, some intimate stuff. Some really, personal stuff. And she can't say that stuff to anybody. She can't even tell it to her mom.
No.
Which, speaking of Scully's mom, we should really talk about Sheila Larkin, the actress who plays Margaret Scully. I adore Margaret Scully. I adore Sheila Larkin. And I think that the relationship that Gillian Anderson and Sheila Larkin are able to show the audience, it's really... authentic. It feels real. That Gillian Anderson, the way that she portrays Scully with Scully's mom, is a much younger. It's a vulnerable, like a daughter Scully. You see a different Scully than Scully kicking ass on the cases with Mulder, having to go toe to toe with these jerks in backwater, sexism. Blah blah blah. But when she's with her mom, it's like this different version. But you still see, like, Scully keeps stuff from her mom. She can't tell her mom all this stuff. And that's a thing that happens a bunch on the show. Like, even when Scully's pregnant, like, and Scully's mom is, like, doesn't even know who the father of the baby is. She's just like, there's all this stuff you're keeping secret. Like, Scully doesn't tell her mom anything. So it's interesting that she wrote all that stuff down for Mulder. And, yeah, whether or not he was supposed to read it, they don't talk about it. He read it, and they don't really talk about it. Right. They just, like... that internalize that, and that's their relationship. And so that's the authentic version of that relationship that these writers really give you, is that it's not overly romantic, overly saccharine. It's real for the characters. Those two characters are not comfortable emotionally a lot of the time. They don't understand their own emotions a lot of the time. That's why it's so great to watch the show, because you learn with them, you experience with them how to navigate the weird waves of their lives. Right. In the magical special world of the X-Files.
Only on the X-Files, you guys.
And we're just uncovering every weird case file detail that we can shine our flashlights onto here on the K-Files. Yeah, click, a real flashlight.
Click.
There's beams. Beam. Maybe those will be added in post.
Maybe.
Probably not.
We've already requested too much from post.
So that's all for now for Memento Mori. There's much to talk about still with this episode, as with all the episodes, I think. But for this episode of the K-Files, I'm your host, Katie. You can find me at KMoles on the social medias.
And I'm your co-host, Crizalia. You can find me at Crizalia on all social medias. And we're coming at you from HollywoodRedux.com.
Hollywood Redux. We got a lot of great content at the site. Stay tuned. Subscribe to us on YouTube. Check out our other podcasts. We have IGL, which is a video game podcast. We have The Writer's Room, which looks at movies and cool entertainment shit. And, of course, here on the K-Files, we're back every single week with a new investigation into these
new case, guys.
Really spectacular episodes of television. So stay with us and check out, there's probably a video popping up around.
Remember to subscribe, like, share, guys.
Click on that, like, and
comment.
The truth is already here, so stay tuned.
See you guys.
Thanks for watching.